For 90 years, a giant human skull lay hidden in a well in northern China, its true identity a secret even as scientists hunted the missing face of a so-called ghost species. The DNA inside billions of people suggested these relatives once walked among us, but no one had ever seen their skull. Until now. The discovery doesn't just rewrite our past, it reveals we have been carrying their legacy in our bodies all along. How did one forgotten fossil finally solve the oldest mystery in human ancestry? In 1933, the city of Harbin in northeastern China was under Japanese occupation, part of the puppet state known as Manchukuo. That year, laborers worked along the banks of the Songhua River to build the Dongjiang Bridge, a project controlled by the Manchukuo National Railway. Among them, one anonymous worker unearthed something extraordinary from the riverbed. A skull, nearly complete, far larger and heavier than any he had seen before. Its thick brow ridges and wide face stood out even to an untrained eye. News of ancient human fossils, like the famous Peking man, had already stirred public imagination across China. The worker recognized that this was no ordinary bone, but the times were dangerous. Japanese authorities kept strict control over discoveries, and anything unusual could be seized, lost, or destroyed. Fearing the skull would disappear into official hands, or worse, that he himself might be punished for keeping it, the worker made a fateful decision. He carried the massive cranium home and lowered it into an abandoned well, hiding it from view and from history. No record of the find entered any government file. No museum logged its existence. The skull vanished into family legend, sealed away beneath the city's surface as war and revolution swept through Manchuria. For decades, the fossil remained hidden. The worker told no authorities, and after the Japanese occupation ended in 1945, political risks only grew. Admitting he had worked for the Manchukuo National Railway under Japanese rule could draw dangerous scrutiny in the years that followed, first from the nationalists, then from the new communist government. The skull's origin story, along with the secret of its hiding place, passed quietly through the family. No photographs, sketches, or measurements appeared in any scientific record. For nearly 90 years, the cranium's existence was known only to a handful of people, its true significance lost to everyone else. In 2018, as the last keeper of the secret neared the end of his life, he finally told his family what lay at the bottom of the well. Acting on his instructions, relatives retrieved the skull and brought it to scientists at Hebei GEO University. There, it was catalogued as HBSM 2018-0018, the first official record of a fossil that had survived occupation, war, and regime change without leaving a trace in any archive. Only then did researchers begin to examine what the world had been missing all those years. A skull that would force them to rethink the entire story of human origins in Asia. Scientists at Hebei GEO University were confronted with a skull that defied expectations. The cranium stretched 221 millimeters from front to back, longer than any other human ancestor on record. Its brain case measured around 1,420 cubic centimeters, placing it firmly in the range of modern humans and Neanderthals. Yet the overall proportions were unlike anything seen before. A massive brow ridge, a face as broad as it was imposing, and a nasal opening built for icy winds. The skull's geological signature pointed to an age of at least 146,000 years, possibly as old as 309,000 years. For decades, the scientific world had chased a shadow. In 2010, deep inside Denisovan cave in Siberia, researchers recovered a pinky bone and a few teeth from a girl who wasn't quite human, nor Neanderthal. DNA from those fragments revealed a third branch of the human family tree, Denisovans. But for years, their physical form remained a mystery. The only clues were genetic, traces of Denisovan DNA scattered through the genomes of people living today. Modern Melanesians and Papuans carry about 5 to 7% Denisovan DNA, a legacy of ancient interbreeding. In East Asia, the fraction is smaller, usually less than 2%, but still unmistakable. One Denisovan gene, EPS1, stands out. In Tibet, nearly 87% of people carry this variant. It helps the body use oxygen more efficiently at high altitudes, making life possible on the roof of the world. Without Denisovan DNA, the Tibetan Plateau would be almost uninhabitable for humans. The Harbin skull's sheer size and age raised a question that echoed far beyond the lab. Could this be the face of the so-called ghost species? The long-lost relatives whose genetic fingerprints are still woven into billions of people alive today? The discovery pressed for answers, not just about the past, but about the ancestry still living inside us. Researchers faced a daunting challenge. The Harbin skull, although nearly complete, held no obvious clues to its genetic identity. Traditional attempts to extract DNA from the dense fossil bone came up empty, but a single upper molar remained, and on it, a thin crust of fossilized dental plaque, calcified calculus, less than 0.5 milligram in total, offered a last chance. In a sterile cleanroom, the team carefully scraped the ancient tartar, taking every precaution to avoid modern contamination. The sample, smaller than a grain of sand, was then dissolved and processed, its molecules separated and sequenced. Most of the DNA was microbial or modern human, but a subset showed unmistakable signs of great age, short fragments, chemical damage at the ends, and a unique genetic signature. The real breakthrough came when the team reconstructed the mitochondrial DNA from these ancient fragments. The sequence clustered not with modern humans, nor with Neanderthals, but with Denisovans. 27 genetic variants in the sample matched only those found in the 7 Denisovan individuals sequenced so far. To rule out doubt, the researchers also analyzed proteins preserved in the calculus and enamel. The proteomic profile aligned with Denisovan signatures, differing from both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. 2 independent lines of evidence, ancient DNA and protein sequences, now converged on the same answer. The Harbin skull, hidden for nearly a century, belonged to the Denisovan lineage. Decades of taxonomic debate ended with the results from a fleck of plaque scraped from a single tooth. For the first time, the Denisovans are no longer just a name in a genetic database. The Harbin skull reveals a face unlike any other in the human family. The cranium stretches longer than any found before, brow ridges heavy and unbroken, casting deep shadows over broad, square orbits. The cheekbones are flat and set forward, the midface wide and low, with a nasal opening so broad it hints at a nose built for frigid air. The palate and upper jaw are massive, the single preserved molar nearly half again as large as the average modern human. This was not a delicate build. Everything about the skull points to a large, powerfully constructed adult, likely male, who would have stood out even among Neanderthals for sheer robustness. The brain case, at about 1,420 cubic centimeters, matches the upper end of modern human and Neanderthal ranges, supporting a mind as complex as any alive today. But the face, with its heavy brow and wide nasal aperture, speaks of adaptation to cold, dry environments, conditions that would have punished any unprepared traveler across Ice Age northern China or the high plateaus of Tibet. Denisovans ranged far. Fossils and genetic traces place them from the forests of southern Siberia to the heights of the Tibetan Plateau, and possibly as far south as island Southeast Asia. Surviving in such extremes demanded a body that could generate and retain heat, lungs that could draw in thin, icy air, and jaws capable of processing tough, fibrous foods. Like Neanderthals, Denisovans likely needed thousands of calories a day just to fuel their large bodies and brains. Their skull gives us the architecture, a broad, flat face with a massive nose, while their genes, still present in people today, reveal how their adaptations shaped the living world. For the first time, the so-called ghost species stands before us, a cold-adapted giant, built for survival on the edge of the world. Today, Denisovan DNA shapes how millions breathe, adapt, and survive. As ancient secrets emerge from unexpected places, the boundaries of human identity shift. The face in the well reminds us our origins are stranger and closer than we think. What story might your own genes be telling?